Let's talk about the single most prolific corporate spokesperson in the history of the planet, none other than Shaq.
This is how we do it.
Hello, how are you?
That's Shaq.
Being conniption free, thanks to the Cartridge-Free Epson Ecotech Pro. And man up, I know you must go by.
Our boy Shaq has a deal with Arcade1up now in Arcade1up's never-ending quest to break through to the mainstream, to be more than just retro arcade gaming, to really be part of pop culture. They've teamed up with Shaq to debut a Shaq Edition NBA Jam. This was unveiled, I think, a couple days ago, actually. Man, this is funny because I've been hoping for a long time that they would get past the riser, and I asked the lead designer for Arcade1up cabinets on my interview with him several weeks ago now, or a month ago, whenever it was, hey, you guys ever gonna get past the riser? No, he said, riser is a core part of our design. Fast forward to today, we have two elements without a riser. We have the Pro line, and then we have this new NBA Jam, which is, I guess, not a Pro line, but does not have a riser. It's one-piece design. I'm glad to see it. I've been advocating for this for a long time. And it's not because I advocated for it that Arcade1up did it, by the way. And I'm not saying that. But I knew this was where the design needed to go. Sitting on a riser is a toy. It's not as stable. It looks okay, but it has a toy-like look. But making it a one-piece design like a real arcade was always going to be the answer, to have just a better quality machine. And that's what they're bringing to the table. And especially, and this is not related to the riser, but the Marquee on this NBA Jam looks amazing. Look at on Kong's R Us footage where they unveiled this. You can see footage of this next to a regular NBA Jam. Yes, it's taller, and we'll talk about that. But look at the quality and the evenness of that Marquee. It's funny, they went backward in quality for the Marquee, but it seems like they're starting to go forward again. Looks very nice. Side note, but I saw a post for someone who had a damaged Simpsons Marquee. They got a new Marquee from Arcade1up, and the new one looked awesome. The colors were saturated. The light distribution was even. Very professional, clean look, whereas a lot of the Simpson Marquees looked like junk, as have been a lot of the other recent Arcade1up Marquees just haven't been that good. Arcade1up seems to have turned a corner here. This NBA Jam looks awesome. So I'm very excited for this for a bunch of reasons. On one hand, I think they absolutely could do a pro version NBA Jam cabinet because this fits in with man caves. People with man caves somehow have a ton of disposable income always. Pool tables, shuffleboard tables, custom bar in the basement. These things are not cheap, and they would pay a lot for an NBA Jam. Same with Golden Tee. So I expect a Pro Series NBA Jam. I'm actually surprised that's not what this is. But this is exciting because this makes this available to more consumers, and it sounds like an eminently fair price. We're hearing $5.99 for price, but guys, I want you to take that with a grain of salt, because remember when we heard Pinball was gonna be $4.99 and it came in at $5.50, and then that quickly became $5.99. So don't assume this won't come in more expensive, you know, until this hits retail. Let's wait and see on that price. But if this does come through at $5.99, the larger, heavier, more substantial cabinet, much more premium looking, taller, one-piece design. Man, this is really, you could think of it as something like a replacement for real hardware. And I don't normally think of one-ups as that. I really think of them as in their own category. If you have a real Street Fighter cabinet, you're not going to want Arcade1up Street Fighter. Why would you? But here, because the cabinet shell is just so nice, you know, now we're starting to make the argument for, hey, don't worry about picking up, you know, an original NBA Jam. Get this instead for some people. There's still always going to be demand for original hardware. Nothing will ever be better than original hardware. But I think if they keep stepping their quality up, they're going to be able to pick up some of those consumers who historically would have ignored Arcade1up. So this is exciting for all those reasons. The Shaq artwork is pretty cool. I think it's neat that Shaq's really involved. It was funny when this was leaked, you know, there were all these rumors that, oh man, it's going to be NFL Blitz. Why the hell would you pay Shaq a bunch of money to announce NFL Blitz? I sometimes wonder where these rumors come from. But anyway, let's look at the cabinet itself. So I'll put up a photo from Kong's R Us. He has good video footage of it. I'm not going to reuse that footage here. I just took this still shot for you to take a look at. But again, look at that saturation. Look at that. Look at the planks for the court. I mean, it just looks wonderful. Very even. Something that OneUp has struggled with before, and it's just huge. Like, look how tall the Marquee is. And then probably more importantly, just look how tall the machine is. So let's get to the specs. NBA Jam, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, and NBA Hang Time. So unfortunately, no new titles there. But that one-piece design that I'm so excited about, 19-inch screen, wonderful. I've always said I think the 17-inch is acceptable for the 1 or 2 player stand-up cabinets, but we need a 19-inch, or we should have a 19-inch in a 4-player cabinet, and also especially the cocktail cabinet, but we won't worry about that today because there's no news there. Light up marquee, of course. Wi-Fi Live, of course, they had that on the original. 99 pounds, this is a big boy. The original was probably around 70 pounds, and that's with the extra riser, so that is impressive. That suggests to me that there's just a lot more wood in the game. Adjustable volume, yes, exciting. That's such a cool feature, like, no shit. Yeah, so I guess there's not any other info here. There's shockingly not a lot of information. Here we see 65.8 inches high, 8 inches taller than the original. And yeah, there it is. I mean, it's impressive. And Shaq mentioned in his, I don't know if this was at a presser or just a written thing, but he said, you know, hey, I already bought 2 Arcade1ups before I ever did a deal with Scott and Arcade1up. I thought that was neat. You know, if that's true, that's pretty cool. Likes the product. Now he's involved. Of course, what do people want to hear? They want to hear about new sports titles from 1UP because NBA Jam has been around for a while. Don't get me wrong. I think re-releasing in a much higher quality cab is totally worthy of a release and exciting. But as this article mentions at ESPN, NFL Blitz, NHL 2-on-2 Open Ice, WWF WrestleFest. Yeah, good luck licensing that. They have yet to receive the Arcade1up treatment. Yeah, I appreciate that this author threw that in there. They're probably, especially for Blitz and especially WrestleFest or any of these other WWF titles, they're probably going to not receive the treatment. I think it would be tough to imagine them being able to license Blitz. We talk a lot about, or at least you've probably heard a lot about not getting Blitz because allegedly the NFL thinks it's too violent. I assume that story's true. I've always heard that story. Don't know where it comes from, but seems reasonable to me. But also, I think it's harder to license for the players. Arcade1up has talked about this. When you license an NBA title, you go through their players union and you roll up a bunch of players' licenses at once. But NFL doesn't have that. So how are you going to go and get, 100 players or whatever, however big the roster was for Blitz? I don't really know. Wasn't really my game. So yeah, we want to see more sports titles. But Backrack, CEO of Arcade1up, said there will absolutely be major sports related announcement from Arcade1up later this year. That is exciting because it's specific. If he said, yeah, we're going to have more sports titles, at some point. Okay, but you're saying at some point, like, yeah, eventually you probably will. But they clearly have a plan. If they're talking about it's later this year, they probably have the title partly lined up and they probably already know what title it'll be. Let me know in the comments what you think we're going to get next from Arcade1up, but I hope it's a 4-player sports title later in the year because this new 4-player cabinet, big old boss marquee, and this extra tall stature, I think is really exciting. Hit like if you made it this far in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. But thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.